Relationship Podcast. I'm your host, none other than Pastor Sean Newton, and today we got another exciting episode for you all today. Today we're going to talk about 50-50. Should relationships be 50-50? Well, that's the question tonight that we're looking to get answers to. But as always, be sure to like, share, and if you're on YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube page. It's now under TCNC, the Community Network, Jax, on YouTube. And to all my followers on Facebook, be sure to like, be sure to share this broadcast today as we're about to get into another fire episode on today's Love and Relationship Podcast. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as always, you know, I got to bring the stats. I got to bring the numbers. All right, 50-50. Should relationships be 50-50? Man, that is something deep here. That is something deep here. But anyway, before we get into it, I just want to share some stats with you all about 50-50. It says 59%. This is a poll taken for both women. 9% believe that it should be 50-50. 41% voted down that it should not be 50-50. So it should be they don't think it should be a 50-50 partnership in a relationship. All right. But like I said, that's the poll. I'm just bringing the stats. Just got some more stats that I want to share with you all. It says 59% of women feel that they do more of the household chores than men. They feel that they do more of the household chores, so they don't feel that it's divided when it comes to the chores in the household. However, 32% of women say that in the house when it comes to chores. And so doing chores around the house, 32% of the women feel that the household chores, it is an even divide. However, it says 40% of men believe that household chores are evenly distributed. So they believe that in the house, men do half of the work, the women do the other half of the work. That's what, However, 20% believe that women should do all the chores. Men don't. Listen, I'm not in that 20%, y'all. Not in that 20%, but it says 20% of the men feel that women should do all the chores in the house. And hopefully that's coming from men that are working men. If you're working and you got to stay at home wife, then I understand. You should. If you're out there working, you grinding 16 hours a day, then of course, you're doing all the labor, all the work to provide. You bring home the bacon, they should cook it. I mean, that's just the saying. I don't agree with a lot of this stuff, but like I said, I gotta go to the numbers before I dive in to answering the question. All right. It says 50 cent when it comes to finances. 52% of households don't split the rent, mortgage, or household expenses. So that's a good thing. You got 52% of households that don't do a 50-50 split when it comes to the rent, mortgage, household expenses, and groceries, etc., etc. So, that's a good thing. However, it says 25% of men say that their spouse handle more of the financial management of managing of the household finances. So 25% of men say, hey, you know what? Guess what? I leave the finances. I leave that all up to my wife. It says 25%, however, says that it is shared equally. So there is a split there between 25% of the men. They're saying that, hey, I do believe in a 50-50 split. I believe in, us going half and half on the mortgage or the rent or, buying groceries or whatever it is, entertainment, whatever it is. 25% men say that is shared equally. All right. Now, here's the kicker. It says 62% of couples keep money separately. 62% keep money separately. All right, we're going to dive in. Remember, like I said, if you have any questions, be sure to post your questions. Like I said, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast, the Love and Relationship Podcast. All right, so tonight we're going to answer that question. Should a relationship be 50-50? All right, should it be 50-50? Should everything be split down the middle? What is your expectation? What is your expectation when you think about being in a relationship? When you come into a relationship, is the expectation of 50-50? Do you expect that person that you're courting, that you're dating, that when you guys finally get into a relationship, that is going to be a 50-50 relationship? Is that person going to bring half to the table? Or is that person and you're going to bring half, and are you going to split everything down the middle? Or is the man going to take care of everything? Or is the woman going to take care of everything? What are your takes on it? Listen, if you have a question, if you have any insight, please drop it in the comment. All right, drop it in the comment section. I would love to hear your take on this, because I don't want to just, like I said, this is an open interaction here, and I want everyone to participate. I want everyone to give their view on this. So like I said, 50-50. Should a relationship be 50-50? Well, I want to share my take on this 50-50 thing. When it comes to the Bible, I always got to go to the Bible, and I got to look at it from the spiritual sense, from the biblical perspective. When you look at the Bible, when God created Adam, Adam had everything. God gave Adam the garden. God put Adam in charge, told Adam to name all the animals. So that was the relationship that God had with Adam. When God created Eve, he took Eve, he formed Eve out of the rib of Adam. When he brought Eve to Adam, Adam had everything. Adam had everything. In fact, if you look in the Bible, if you look at Rebecca and Isaac, and if you look at Jacob, they had everything. So this thing that people saying now that it should be 50-50, I personally don't believe that. I don't believe that relationships should be 50-50. I truly believe that a man, if you are courting a woman, if you are seeking to be in a relationship with a woman and you want that woman to end up being your spouse one day, then you have to be the full sole provider for that woman. Basically, you have to be able to provide for yourself first. If you can't provide for yourself first, if you're living in your mama house, you're living with Joe Blow, you're living with your cousin or whatever the case may be, don't seek to get into a relationship. Real talk. You need to truly do some soul searching. You need to truly become a provider for yourself first. Be able to put yourself in a good financial position so that you can take care of yourself, and then go above and beyond so that you can take care and provide. That is man's duty. We are to be the priest, the provider, and the protector for the women. We got to provide. When Eve came, Adam had everything. He didn't, God wasn't like, well, Eve, you got to take 50-50. You got to have half and bring it to Adam. And then, no. Like when Isaac was looking for a wife, Isaac had everything. So when she came, she didn't bring nothing with her. She didn't come and was like, yo, I got 50-50, I got half. Like, no, that's not biblical. And and I'm old school. Like, I don't believe in that. I truly believe that a man should truly provide for his spouse, or his soon-to-be spouse or wife, or whoever he's courting. He should fully provide. He should be in position to provide for himself, and then be in position to provide for her. So that way, when she do come into the relationship, there's no lack there. There's no lack. He has more than enough to meet his needs, to meet her needs, to sustain for both of them to live. Not only that, but he should go above and beyond so that if anything can ever happen to him, that she is still taken care of. If anything ever happens to him, she's still good. She ain't got to go out there and rush out there to work. She ain't got to go out there and try to get with somebody else and sell her body, sell her soul just to survive. Like, no. So man, when it comes to a woman, and I tell my sons all the time, don't get with nobody because you're lonely. Don't get with nobody. No. You as a man need to provide for that woman. You got to be able to provide for yourself. If you're living at home, guess what? Don't get in a relationship, because you're living at home. No. If you got to have your own place, your own car, you got to have a good job. You got to be making good money. You got to be saving money. You got to have more than enough for yourself and that other person. So as I was saying, like, yo, you got to provide. You got to be the provider, man. So this thing that you got to be 50-50, you got to bring 50-50 into the relationship. Nah, I don't believe in that. Now, there's some people that's out there that do believe in that. And they be like, if I'm coming to the table with half, she got to bring half, she got to be able, and that's you, that's you. But that's not the way it should be. The way it should be is that the men, you are to provide everything. You are the provider. Period. There's no questions asked to that. It's in the Bible. Every man that got with someone like when Ruth and Boaz, there's a thing on Netflix right now. Ruth and Boaz, the modern day Ruth and Boaz. But like I said, when Ruth came to Boaz, Boaz had everything. So Ruth wasn't in any need of anything. Why? Because Boaz had everything. So men, you got to provide. You got to be the sole provider and make sure that you are providing for these women. All right. Don't get in a relationship if you can't even provide for yourself first. One thing I love, when I look at my life, I have everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm in need of nothing. I have God. He's first and foremost in my life. God has blessed me with a home. God has blessed me with a good job. I'm able to provide. I'm able to do some things. Go on trips. I'm able to go out and eat every now and then. So I'm in a good place right now. So a woman don't need to bring nothing to the table. I don't need her to cook. I do that for myself. I don't need her to clean. My house is always clean. I clean up. I don't need her to iron my clothes. I iron my own clothes. You know what I'm saying? So I don't need her for that. You know what I'm saying? I wash the clothes. Like I said, I keep the house clean. I cook. I don't need her to cook for me. So I take care of myself. So when, if a woman comes along, I don't need her to bring nothing to the table. She don't have, because I'm in position to, I got more than enough for myself and more than enough for that woman. So when she comes to the table, it's not no, oh, you got to bring 50-50. Now, when she comes to the table, what I do expect her to manage and maintain everything that I have. I don't expect her to come in and try to destroy it or come in and try to take it away and be trying to build somewhere else. Like, no, build with me. I already got a foundation. I already got a solid foundation. No, come in and build with what God has given me. Come in and build with what I have. Build up what I already have. Your needs are already met. I go shopping for myself. I'll be able to shop for you. You know what I'm saying? I'll be able to cook, clean. I'll be able to do all those things. So you don't have to come to the table with anything. That's not biblical. That's not biblical for men to think that. And women, and I told my daughter this. My daughter is very independent. And I taught her to be independent, but I also told her that, listen, when you decide that you're ready to date, you know what I'm saying? Even though you're going to have your own job, my daughter, she's going to have an awesome job. She's going to have an amazing job. She's going to be making more money than me when she graduates. I mean, and I'm so happy and I'm proud of her. But I told her that when you go out there and you look for, are you ready to date? Like, make sure that man, even though you're making your own money, make sure that man is able to provide for you. I know you want to have your own stuff, and it's all fine and good, but you got to be able to make sure that that man is able to provide for you, that he is the sole provider. Now, what you ought to do with your money, if he's able to provide, you ought to be investing. You ought to be, building up. You ought to be putting money away to save. You ought to be putting money for y'all to, go on vacations and do nice things, and putting the money away for you for when you're ready to have a baby. Put money away for that child. That's what your money is going to be going for. I'm teaching my daughter that now, that these are the things that you have to do, but make sure that you get with someone that is fully providing, making sure that he makes enough money to keep a roof over your head, making sure that he has enough money if you need clothes, to buy you clothes, making sure that he has enough money to making sure that both of y'all eat. You know what I'm saying? And both of y'all can go out and enjoy life together. So I'm teaching my daughter that, even though she's going to probably be the breadwinner, but still, women, the men are the providers. We are the providers. God put us on this earth to provide for y'all. That is our job. That is our job. So leave that up to us. So there's a guy, I forgot his name, and he called men dusty bums. You know, and so, you know, every now and then I see this guy, man. I appreciate him calling men dusty bums, but some of the stuff that he is preaching is truth. Like he is saying, like, yo, like you men, like if you want a woman, you got to take care of that woman. You got to be able to provide. And so all I'm doing today is this encouraging you all to let you all know that, hey, listen, it is the men's responsibility to provide. So if a man come to you women and say, oh, let's talk 50-50, run from that man. I was about to say another word. But anyway, run from him. You don't want to get with a man that's talking some 50-50. You know what I'm saying? You got to make sure that he is able to provide. If he come talking 50-50, let him know that you're not that type. Listen, you know your worth. You know your worth. You can be working, having a good job. You know what I'm saying? And that's all fine and good. But if he ain't got a house, he ain't got his own car, he ain't got a good job to make enough for you and him, run from him. You know what I'm saying? Or here's the thing, give him an opportunity to get himself together, to get himself in position. I believe in doing that you can give him a chance. You know, but other than that, listen, run. Like you don't want to be involved with nobody like that. You want to make sure that that person is able to provide for you. Because here's the thing: the best thing that anyone right now can do, especially if you get in a relationship, is to have a two income home. That's it. Two income, and one income should provide for the whole home, the entire house. One income should take care of everything in the house. And if you got one income that can provide for the entire house, listen, you're gonna blow up. You're gonna go to the next level. Real talk. You're gonna blow up, especially if you got a woman that know how to invest, a woman that know how to manage finances, a woman that ain't into all materialistic, want to buy, get hair done, nails done, and buying expensive purses and all that stuff. No, man, if you get with a woman like that, you are going to go to the next level. I'm telling you, listen, you guys are going to, within 5 years, you guys are going to probably be multi-millionaires. That is real talk. You get with a woman like that, man, if you're able to provide and she has a job and she's making good money, listen, I'm telling you, if she's wise with her money and she's steward over her finances, within 5 years, you guys are going to be multi-millionaires. I guarantee you. But listen, you got to look out for that kind of woman. Men, you got to provide for her. You got to make sure that there is no lack, that you have enough money for her, enough money for yourself, that all the bills is taken care of by your income and your income alone. You should never have to ask her for anything. Yeah, every now and then, if she want to buy something, do something nice for the house, take you out, buy you something nice, and do something nice for herself, yeah, that's all fine and good. But what I'm saying is that overall, all the money that you make should take care of everything for both of y'all to live. And if you make all that money, the money that she makes, that's just living money. That's just you guys investing. She putting money away to save. She's putting the money away for you guys to go on vacation. Like she put money away for you guys to do something big, something grand that's going to help elevate you guys and excel y'all and push y'all into that $1 million status. Listen, I'm telling you, it's going to happen. It is going to happen. So I encourage men, like I said, to be the provider. Don't go talking no 50-50. Like, nah, you hold it down. You hold it down for the woman. When you hold it down for the women, guess what? You gonna blow up. Y'all gonna blow up. Because she got the money, she got the bread. And all she gonna be doing is just stacking that dough. Just stacking that dough. Especially if she's a good woman and she's steward and she ain't materialistic. I'm telling you, you guys are gonna blow up. I'm telling you, it's guaranteed. All right, so that's my take on that today, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, I got a couple of questions that I want to ask. So listen, put your answers in the comment section. Please comment on this. The first question asks is, what does 50-50 mean to you? What does it mean to you to go 50-50? Okay? What does it mean? Tell me. What does it mean to go 50-50? All right? In your mind, when you hear the word 50-50, what does that mean? Are y'all going 50-50 on the house chores? Are you going 50-50 on the finances? What are you going 50-50 on? You know, what does 50-50 truly mean to you? You know, so that is one of the questions. You guys homework. All right. You know, if you want to answer it in the comment section, what you think 50-50 means to you. All right. The next question. Do you believe that a 50-50 relationship works for you. All right. Do you believe that? Like I said, I don't believe that a 50-50 relationship works for me because I'm in position to be the priest, the provider, the protector. I'm in position to do all that. So does a 50-50 relationship works for you? It works for some people it don't work. So does it works for you? Tell us how. Tell us the pros and cons of a 50-50 relationship. If you have a 50-50 relationship, what's working for you all? What's not working for you all? So is it really worth having a 50-50 relationship, and does that relationship work for you? Some people it does, some people it doesn't. And I'm not knocking it. If you do have a 50-50 relationship, if you don't have a 50-50 relationship, I'm not knocking it. All right. But all I want to know is if you do have a 50-50 relationship, does that relationship work for you? All right. And then the last question, and I'm about to get up out of here, is have you ever had a partner that came with the expectation of a 50-50 relationship? So basically, they're asking you, have you ever met someone and on the first date or whatever, after you get to know that person was like, nah, when we get into this relationship, we're going 50-50. We're splitting everything down the middle. Has that ever happened to you? I don't know. That has never happened to me. I've never put that mandate on any woman that I've dated and was like, oh, you got to split everything happy. No, I've always been the one in position to be the provider. I've always been the one to say, hey, you know what? I have to take care of this woman. This woman is depending on me. So I got to be in position to make sure that I provide not only for myself, but for that woman as well. So, have you ever met someone and they came into the relationship and was like, yo, 50-50. You know what I'm saying? From jump. All right. Be real, be honest. Like I said, post your answers in the comment section. All right. Please post your answers. I want to hear your take on this. Like I said, this is an open forum. This is free for everyone to post answers to the questions that I posted. And like I said, be upfront, be honest, be real, and be upfront and be honest. All right. The last thing I want to share with you is a quote. It says that a 50-50 mindset, this is what it says. It says a 50-50 mindset hurt relationships because it promotes score keeping. Do you believe that's true? Do you believe that a 50-50 relationship, promotes score keeping? Basically, I do this and you do that, but I did this, but you didn't do that. Do you truly believe that? Do you believe Oh, that's not the question. What in the world? Talking during the movie is okay. Where did that question come from? You know what? That's not the question. I don't know why that came up on you on my YouTube channel. There's a question. Thank you, the Crimson Cane. All right. No, not only a black dude would answer that. That's not true. All right, but I just hit the thing and it says to try it, and I hit it. I don't know why they gave me that question. I thought it was going to ask one of the questions that I had, but I'm going to try to delete that. All right. Yeah, but you're absolutely right, Crimson King. Crimson King. Shout out to the Crimson King. All right. But anyway, they said that a 50-50 mindset hurts a relationship. Do you truly believe that? Do you truly believe that a 50-50 mindset hurts a relationship? I don't believe that it does. All right. But do you believe that it does? I don't think that you know that it promotes scorekeeping, but some people do. I just truly believe that in a relationship, a man should be provided. All right. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, those are the questions for tonight. Listen, I hope I was able to answer your question about 50-50. Should a relationship be 50-50? My take, no. Men should be providing everything. You should be taking the woman out. You should be, providing the home. You should be providing, being able to take care of her financially, meet her needs, provide clothing for her when she needed, provide, food for her when she needed, provide everything that she needed, provide for her and yourself. Because when Eve came, Adam, he had everything. Eve didn't bring nothing to the table. Or if you look at the Bible, all the wives, they didn't have nothing. Even David, all his wives that he provided for all 8 wives that he had. He had 8 of them. You know what I'm saying? David had 8 wives, but guess what? He provided for every single one of them. None of them came with 50-50, or with the 50-50 mentality. So, like I said, that's my personal take on it. But I hope I cleared some, misconceptions up about a 50-50 relationship. Like I said, this is just an open forum. This is just my point of view. Nothing that I say is concrete or is right or set in stone. Like I said, I'm just here. This is a question that was posed, and I'm just trying to give answers and give guidance in this. All right, but anyway, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, be sure to like, be sure to subscribe to this page. Be sure to share this. All right, be sure to share this episode, like I said, with all your friends, family members. Share with someone right now that who may be going through, who may have that question about a 50-50 relationship. Be sure to share with them. All my YouTube family, Crimson Kane, all those that are on YouTube, Freddie. Be sure to like, be sure to share this to all my family on Facebook. Be sure to like David. Thank you all the way from India, tuning in. Triana Miller, thank you so much for your love and your support. Be sure to like, be sure to share this with everyone on Facebook. Like I said, let's just get the word out. Get the word out, all right? But until we meet again, like I said, until next week, listen, love and relationship. Love is the way. Love covers a multitude of sin. And let's love one another, all right? But until we meet again, take care, y'all. I'll see you all next week.